Let's get started. Welcome everyone. It's always nice to see you all connecting every week, and I really appreciate that because I know all of you have something. We have plenty of things to do, so I really appreciate that you're here every week. Hope you enjoyed the experiential webinar on Tuesday. Those of you that have connected, I have to go and check Valerie's recipe on Instagram, and I really hope you had fun. And I hope you're also looking forward to next week one, which will bring you to explore the sense of smell, guided by the master parfumé of an historical perfumery in Florence, Antica Erboristeria San Simone. So I'm sure you will have fun doing that one too. But let's focus on this week. So today we're not going to explore one single region of Italy. Instead, we're going on a journey through Italy, moving from north to south, to discover some of the many little gems that are off the beaten path and not often included in standard itineraries. And since we're going to visit different regions of Italy, I have decided to bring to you a special guest that can connect all of these locations. So today, we're not going to have an hotel or a villa partner, but I'm joined by Matteo Batacchi from our Italy office in Florence that will talk to you about our very own transfer company that offers services throughout Italy. Over the past weeks, I've always used the 5 Ws to talk you through the various regions of Italy, but this time it was really a bit tricky. I tried, but it would have been too long to talk to you about the 5 Ws of every single town that I'm going to touch. But what I've done is I've kept them up on each slide so that you can have a clear idea of where we are at any time. So let's get started, and let's start our journey through the undiscovered Italy with the beautiful city of Trieste, which is located in Friuli Venezia Giulia region in the northeast part of Italy, close to the border with Slovenia. Being a frontier city, it has been owned and occupied by different populations, including the Romans, the Habsburgs, and the Germans and Allied forces, only finally returning to Italy in 1954. The consequence is a glorious mix of architectural and ethnic influences. Once, it was a great seaport of the Habsburg Empire, and its fabulous waterfront is lined with neoclassical architecture and gorgeous view across the bay and the Adriatic Sea. And it is this view, plus the marina, which is full of, sleek white yachts, the city leaders, and the long sandy beaches, and the vineyard that drop the hinterland that hold the real magic of Trieste. But discovering Trieste also means discovering the Carso, which is a steep limestone plateau that follows the Gulf Coast of Trieste and the Slovenia border, and which is perfect for picnicking, hiking, biking, rock climbing. There are half a dozen trails, and the one that I would recommend to beginners, to families, but also to those that are in town just for half a day, for example, is the Strada Napoleonica, which literally is Napoleon's road, which is just 5 kilometers, and it goes on a hike to the village named Prosecco. So this is, in fact, is the village that gave its name to what is now one of the most popular wine of Italy. Although now the production is is concentrated 100 kilometers away in the Veneto region. And like in all the Carso little hamlet, you can pop in many wineries. You can have wine a glass of wine for €1. So it's very, very convenient. And there is a winery which is called Osmisa Verginella, which obviously produces Prosecco, and is one of those rare wineries that is open throughout the year. And from there, you have amazing views down to the coastline. So if you are in the area, you have to go and visit the village of Prosecco. What is that? Okay. So not far from Trieste, in the Veneto region, is the town of Conegliano. And if you ever admire the paintings of these Madonnas with the babies, there are many created by a local artist, which is named Giovanni Battista Cina. And basically you'll almost, I mean, looking at those paintings, you'll almost have a deja vu. I mean, you feel like you've been here because the town of Conegliano is the backdrops for many of these paintings. These days, Conegliano is kind of a sleepy rural town, but it is important because it is the starting point for Italy's oldest wine route, which is La Strada del Prosecco, so the Prosecco route, the one that we mentioned earlier. Here we are in the area called Valdobbiadene DOCG, and which is the production zone of the Prosecco di Valdobbiadene. And the territory includes the city of Conegliano on the east and Valdobbiadene on the west. Conegliano includes 3 lined streets, beautiful walkways, and spacious villas with plenty of beautifully designed gardens. There is a great spot for lunch, which is the restaurant at the hilltop castle of Conegliano. And from here, on a clear day, you can see Venice in the distance on one direction, and then you can see the Dolomites on the other. And one curiosity is that if you go there for lunch, you need to have tiramisu for dessert, because tiramisu was actually invented in the Veneto region, so in this region, in 1960s. And locals usually have tiramisu, and they have a little local grappa. You remember we talked about grappa last week, poured into their espresso coffee. And this is what Italians call caffè corretto, which is very nice at the end of the meal. We're now moving to one area of Trentino, which is called Valsugana. The area is all surrounded by the backdrops of the snow-capped mountains, and the alpine tree offers epic hikes and gorgeous lake, which are perfect for water sports. The most famous of this lake is Lake Levico, which is the one that you see in this picture, which is located just a few minutes out of Levico Terme, which is a renowned spa destination. The lake is surrounded by small beaches and shaded lawns. And since 2013, its waters and beaches have been awarded the Blue Flag. Blue Flag is usually a recognition that is given to the best beaches in Italy, but usually sea beaches. But in these cases, there are a few lakes in Italy that do have this recognition due to the clearliness of their waters. Those who come here find absolutely a true oasis of peace with 2 bathing establishments and a large free and equipped beach. In the winter, it is a must to visit the wonderful Christmas market set up in the Asburg Park at Levico Terme, which is nearby, as we said. And obviously you can practice many winter sports. But then in the summer, it's perfect for all of those that go on canoeing, swimming, sailing, windsurfing, stand-up paddleboarding, and kayaking. And it is also possible to rent electric boats to fish on the lake or take many walks along the lake shores. Around the lake, I usually recommend the Strada dei Pescatori, which is the fisherman's road, which goes all around the lake in a naturalistic trail of 8.5 kilometers. And obviously, you can also bike on this trail, but you can also take the biking trail that goes around the Valsugana area. And now from Trentino, we move to Lombardy and to the gorgeous town of Mantova in Italian, Mantua in English. So Mantua is home to the largest residential building in Europe after the Vatican, and is packed with art and architectural gems. The city is surrounded by 3 artificial lakes, like the one that you see in the photo, one coated with lily pads, which is perfect for sunset boat cruises. But the real magic is hidden behind the closed doors of the many palaces. We have to thank the Gonzaga for these and for most of the architecture in Mantua. The Gonzaga Ducal Palace has something like 600 majestic rooms that not all are open to public, but most of them can be visited. And they are an absolute architectural feast with frescoes and amazing art. Also impressive is, and absolutely worth a visit, is the Te Palace, which also boasts some grand halls, and the Teatro Bibbiena, which is a truly hidden gem. If you like Lambrusco, which is a typical wine of the area, then you're also lucky because Lambrusco is produced in Emilia-Romagna, which is nearby, but also here in Mantova. In 2016, the city was named an Italian capital of culture by the European Union, and has long been an artistic, cultural, and musical hub in northern Italy. So theater, literature, and opera lovers will find much to love in the city and plenty of things to do. And it has also been named European Capital of Gastronomy. So, I mean, here you can expect the city's culinary treasures to rival many of the other cities that we have seen in Italy so far. For example, two different types of local dishes are the polenta, which can be served with many different toppings, and the tortelli with various filling, but the most popular one are those made with pumpkins. We stay in Lombardy now, and we move to the town of Cremona. Here we are very, very close to the border with Emilia-Romagna, and in fact, you can see some similarities in the buildings. And for example, all the many porticos that you can see even in this photo, something very typical in Emilia-Romagna. But violins are absolutely the name of the game here, thanks to its long and successful history of producing premium versions of this stringed instrument. So Cremona is a perfect day trip for from Milan or from Venice. So you can visit the Violin Museum, and you can also visit the workshop to see how much effort goes into the production of each single instrument. The cathedral, which is the one we see here, is a stunning example of Romanesque art. And the funny thing to say is that nearly it didn't set off the ground, because in fact, the construction was started in the 1100s, but then an earthquake came along and severely damaged the cathedral. So the construction was then completed some 60 years later, but with various additions and extension. And you can see this clearly both inside and outside the cathedral. We're now moving to Piedmont, and we're going to visit the beautiful town of Alba. So there's a lot to love about Alba, which is located just 1 hour south of Turin. First, of course, is the beautiful architecture. There are colorful rooftops, a beautifully preserved center with medieval brick tower, and lovely streets just to wander around. But it's what happens in the fall that make these towns special and popular. In fact, each weekend in October and November is the International Alba White Truffle Fair, which is a festival that celebrates the culinary delicacies the region is best known for, so the truffles. Foodies from all over the world travel to Alba to learn just about everything there is to know about truffles, to taste this delicacy in every form imaginable. The festival starts off with what is called Notte Bianca, so White Night, which is a night-long celebration of music, dancing, and of course, since we are in Italy, plenty of eating. The markets and the shops are usually overflowing with a vast array of great traditional Piedmont foods and bubbly, obviously, and there's an amazing, enchanting atmosphere. And talking about food, in addition to the truffles, Alba is famous for their chocolate. In fact, Ferrero Rocher and Nutella come from here, come from this region and come from Alba. And the legendary Gianduja, which is a type of chocolate made with hazelnut, was invented here. But we cannot also forget that Alba is also one of Italy's premier, is located in one of Italy's premier wine region, which is the Langhe. So in April, the Vinum Wine Festival is hosted in Alba, and it is a must for lovers of good wine. So, I mean, you can go in the fall and learn everything about truffle. You can go in the spring and learn everything about wine, or you can go year-round and learn everything about chocolate. So it's absolutely perfect. But now we leave northern Italy and we move to the center, to Emilia-Romagna. which is an absolutely foodie destination again. So our first stop here is Parma, which is a must visit for definitely food travelers, and it's also a very easy city to explore. You can basically cycle or walk through streets which are virtually empty from cars, because most of them are pedestrian. You can have lunch with freshly cut prosciutto and aged Parmigiano Reggiano, drinking Lambrusco, as we have seen, in these beautiful Art Nouveau cafes. And then in the summer, you can simply spend the night and the evening listening to classical music in the many beautiful opera houses. More metropolitan than Modena, which is a nearby town famous for its balsamic vinegar, and it's another foodie delight and foodie destination, Parma is the city that gave birth to the famous composer Verdi. It's also the place where celebrate chefs usually come to turn the cheese in all sorts of intricate dishes. And then Parma is also well known for its famous architecture in places like the sanctuary of Santa Maria della Steccata or its baptistry, which is absolutely beautiful. But not to be missed when you are in Parma is a visit to the Parmigiano Reggiano Consortium. So you can go there, you can have a tour, which is usually about a 2-hour tour, that will show you how traditional Parmesan cheese is made, as well as how it's graded for quality and later aged for a minimum of 2 years, 24 months. The tour usually closes to an end with plenty of tastings, but another type of tasting that you shouldn't miss when you are in Parma is that of the best selection of cured meats, like the culatello, which is a very typical Italian ham, and obviously the prosciutto di Parma, which was born here. And then still in Emilia-Romagna is the town of Brisighella. And this is quite a funny town. I mean, when you think of Italy from the movies, and you think of all those, you know, hair flying in convertible cars, verdant green hills full of vines, castle towering above hill towns, well, you're basically thinking about the scenery of Brisighella. So this is one of Italy's real hidden gem, and it's so cute, and it's absolutely worth a visit. The picturesque streets with little cafes and gelato shops sit under the 3 hills of the town. One has the clock tower, one a castle, and one a church. So you can enjoy a casual stroll between the 3 and visit them before noshing down on all the gelato below, which is something quite popular in Brisighella. There are usually no tourists around, or very, very little tourists. So you can really taste a truly Italian atmosphere. But be also sure to check the surrounding, which include the old quarry caves, which now host live music performances underground. There are excavation sites of the old castle, which offers terrific panoramic views. And then you can also add to the mountains for some fantastic fresh food and obviously fresh air at the Parco Carnet, where there is a visitor center and you can stop by. So next to Emilia-Romagna, in between Emilia-Romagna and the Marche, is San Marino. So to avoid any doubts, San Marino is an entirely different country to Italy. But given Italy completely surrounds it, I thought it was worth including it in my Italy hidden gem list. Also because it's one of the least visited countries in Europe. So this tiny, tiny little republic, I tried to color in San Marino, but you can't see it. So I had to put a circle on it on the map just to show you exactly where it is, because it's a tiny little dot. So it is the 5th smallest country in the world. And after sunset, when the day trippers that come from Italy depart, you have the most magical ancient experience walking its old city without any crowds at all. It's a truly fascinating place, being one of the oldest republics in the world. Although Italy surrounds it, it's not part of the European Union, although it has no borders, so you can go in and out with no problem. They use the euro, but they also have their individual San Marino coins. And they also have their own calendar. So as you can see, it's a pretty unique place. And as such, it is worth popping over the border, if you're in the area, to this fairly undiscovered country. So, I mean, it's absolutely in my list of hidden gems. Not in Italy, but inside Italy, I would say. It's now time to go to Tuscany. So Tuscany is quite popular, but if we move down to southern Tuscany, in the area of the Maremma, which is this stretch of land which is rich in seaside and fishing towns, mineral hills, archaeological parks, tough cities, and the Mount Amiata and natural reserves, well, these are areas which are not that popular to international tourism. There are plenty of little villages, beautiful, but my favorite is the beautiful town of Pitigliano, which is, as you can see, a tufo town. So it's perched on a hill of tufo, directly surrounded by green woods. And if you look closely, you can see windows opening directly out of the rock face that gave onto cellars excavated centuries ago. So along with its little sisters, Sorano and Sovana, which are two nearby cities which look similar, these three towns are absolute delight to visit. They have sleepy squares and perfectly preserved medieval buildings. The whole area surrounding them was once Etruscan territory, which built important necropolis from which today we are able to reconstruct the habits of the Etruscan. The Sovana Archaeological Park has some tombs that can also be visited. The area is riddled with mysterious vie cave, which are ancient sunken roads once used by the Etruscan. And the old Maremma is blessed with some of the best beaches in Tuscany and in Italy. It has long stretches of sand and clear water, so clear that some of these beaches have repeatedly won the blue flag that I mentioned earlier for the cleanliness beaches and sea waters in Italy. Top beaches include those in the nature reserve of the Uccellina Park and the lovely Feniglia Beach, which connects the Mount Argentario to the mainland. So it's a strip of land that connects the two. It is worth mentioning that Grosseto, which is the largest city in Maremma and also one of Tuscany's province, has an airport which is currently open to private aircrafts, but is about to open to international flights, mainly coming from European hubs. So these will make it easier to reach the area if you don't want to go through Florence or Pisa or Rome, which is quite close by. From Tuscany, we move east to Abruzzo and to the city of Pescara. Well, Abruzzo is a region that offers many attractions, including lakes, the Adriatic coast, of course, national parks, imposing mountain ranges, UNESCO heritage sites, and some of the most beautiful medieval towns in the country, plus an eclectic and diverse cuisine that changes from the beach to the mountains. So within the region, you have two completely different cuisine. Pescara is a highly developed seaside resort, which is very, very popular with the locals, and has one of the biggest marinas on the Adriatic coast. The city was heavily bombed during World War II, reducing much of the center to a rubble. It's a lively place with an animated seafront, especially in the summer, and has 16 kilometers of sandy beaches, which are the main attraction, together with the fresh fish coming directly in from the Adriatic that you can taste in seafood restaurants. As I said, the cuisine varies significantly from the coast, where you can obviously find predominantly seafood dishes, and the inland, where legumes and meat, especially mutton and pork, reign supreme. Abruzzo also has a long history of pasta making and has produced a special type of spaghetti, which is called spaghetti alla chitarra, for more than 200 years now. So this is a variety of egg pasta, which is pushed through wooden contraption that has stainless steel guitar-like strings. And that's the reason why it's called spaghetti alla chitarra, so guitar spaghetti. There is a pastificio, so a pasta factory, which is called Antico Pastificio Rosetano, which is in one of the several historical pasta production houses in the region, and have been producing this type of pasta since the 1800s. The owners are absolutely happy to welcome visit, where you can learn the entire process of producing this type of spaghetti and then obviously have a taste of them. And moving west toward Lazio, we found the town of Sulmona, which was still in the Abruzzo region. This town is fantastic for restaurants, narrow medieval streets, and undiscovered mountain. And Sulmona sits strategically on a plateau surrounded by 3 national parks, making it an absolute perfect base for outdoor excursions in Abruzzo. It's easy to reach from Rome and from Pescara, and simple to navigate once you are there. The city can trace its history back to the Roman town of Sulmo, where the poet Ovid, which is famous for his Metamorphoses, was born in 43 before Christ. But what makes Sulmona very popular, mainly with Italians, is the confetti, the almond sweets, not the colored paper that are scattered at weddings. So, despite a violent earthquake that hit the city in 1706 and several earthquakes that came afterwards, there is a lot to enjoy in Sulmona. You can stroll to the street, which is a pleasure, and there are plenty of individual sites to admire. There is a weekly market in Piazza Garibaldi on a Wednesday and on Saturday mornings, which is absolutely nice and very lively. But let's talk a little bit more about the speciality of the Sulmona confetti. So these sugared almonds are produced in the town and are the reason for its wealth, since they are now distributed at most Catholic weddings across Europe. So you will see many shops selling these in Sulmona. There is even a museum dedicated to the confetti, which is called the Museo dell'Arte Confetteria in Sulmona. And you can go and visit the confetti factory and the museum, which are just a short walk from the center of Sulmona. And there is an interesting candy making exhibit and a factory shop where you can buy the confetti to take home. There will be plenty of different colors. I mean, the historical ones are obviously the white ones with almond, but then nowadays you can find many different colors and also different tastes, different flavors. So my flavors, as you can guess, probably, is the one with chocolate inside, which is absolutely, oh, bro, yes, I know, I love the confetti too. I actually have some left here from my mom when she came last time. Okay, so let's move on. So far we have been mainland, mainly in inland. So it's time to move to a very small yet gorgeous island, which is called Ponza, which is just off the coast of Lazio and is part of Lazio region. So Ponza is part of the Pontine Island, which are stick up out of the sea south of Rome, where the locals, but not only the locals, take cool weekend breaks. And in fact, I'm saying not only the local, because there was in the news that recently, obviously, because before all these crises started, Beyonce was there, for example, and JX. So, you know, there are some celebrities that are now finding out of these little gems. This 5.5 mile long stripe of rock is told to have been the summer home, not to the Sirenes, but to witch Circe, which in Greek mythology trapped Odysseus for a bit while he was passing by. So if you have read the Odyssea from Homero, you probably remember this tale. At first, the island feels more Greek than Italian, with probably its closest rival could be Santorini. There is a relaxed and very beachy vibe to this place, with just enough glamour to make it interesting. Crystal clear and water in shades of blue and green. I mean, the water here is absolutely a must. You have to see it to believe how beautiful it is. If you consider that you're just not far off the coast of Civitavecchia, which is, I mean, a main commercial port, you can't believe how clear and how clean the water is. It has 2 main beaches and at least 15 coves, so you have plenty of choice if you would like to dive in. As I said, Ponza is part of the Pontine archipelago, and the only other inhabited island in this archipelago is Ventotene, which is just an hour ferry away. So you can rent a boat or take a cruise and explore the gorgeous cove of the nearby island of Palmarola and Gavi, which are not inhabited, or you can trek on the nature reserved on the island of Zannone. So it's absolutely beautiful. And we're now moving to another beach destination, which is still in Lazio. So still not far away from Rome, where plenty of Romans go on their summer holidays. Again, this is much unknown to international tourists, and it's pretty much used only by the locals. And I'm talking about Sperlonga, which is a coastal town that lies probably midway between Rome and Naples. One of the main draws is the Sea Grotto that dates back to Roman times, and the Villa of Tiberius, which is home to plenty of ancient sculptures. And there is also a well put together museum, while obviously the beach and the port, which are the main attraction, are overlooked by Torre Truglia, which is that basically cluster of houses that you can see in the photo, which has plenty of small restaurants where you can get your pasta and pizza fix, obviously. Sperlonga is all about gleaming white houses, white walkways, white arches, draping with bougainvillea, so you have some dots of color. There are carving stairs winding down in all directions from the center, almost always leading down to a magnificent beach. Sperlonga doesn't spread out far, so basically the only thing that you have to do once you have explored the town center is venture down to the beach and enjoy. And then if we move a bit far south, we arrive in the Campania region. And from the Bay of Naples, with a 40 minutes hydrofoil ride, you will reach the little island of Procida. If you've seen my post in the Facebook group today, the photo that I posted, it was about Procida. So this is the smallest island in the Bay of Naples, and it absolutely receives nowhere near as many foreign visitors as the neighboring island of Capri and Ischia. Procida seems to want to keep its secret to itself. I mean, it's popular with Neapolitans, which usually look for a summer escape from the steaming hot of the chaotic city. This tiny island is only 4 square kilometers, so you can absolutely walk everywhere. To the black sand beaches that ring the island, almost empty during the week and bustling with families on the weekend. And then you can walk through the winding narrow street in the center with high walls hiding cube-shaped houses and beautiful large gardens. Terra Murata is the highest point on the island and also the oldest part of the village. Here, the fortress walls were built as protection from invaders in the 15th century. There is a rather quirky and crumbling church, the Abbazia di San Michele, which has excellent views from its terrace. Procida's highlight is Marina Corricella, which is the colorful fishing village that's built into the rock leading to the sea. This 17th century settlement is absolutely traffic-free and can only be reached by stairs in passageways through the houses. Along the waterfront, there are piles of fishing nets and restaurants where you can enjoy a meal with the views of Terra Murata. There are not many hotels on the island, it's mainly Airbnbs, but I mean, it's an absolutely perfect day trip from Rome, from Naples. So, you know, you don't have to spend the day, 1 or more days on the island. You can just take a day trip and it's absolutely perfect. And let's visit another jewel of Campania, which is Paestum. So usually on the normal itinerary, people moving south from Naples will stop in Pompeii and Ercolano. But Paestum is not always included in the itinerary. And it's a shame because it's home to one of Europe's most glorious archaeological sites. Obviously deemed UNESCO World Heritage, it includes 3 of the world's best preserved ancient Greek temples, as well as an engrossing museum crammed with millennia-old frescoes, ceramic, and daily artifacts. Among these is the iconic Tomba del Tuffatore, which literally is Tomb of the Diver, which has a beautiful funerary fresco. Paestum, or Poseidonia, which was the city original name in honor of Poseidon, which is the Greek god of the sea, was founded in the 6th century before Christ by Greek settlers, and then fell under the Romans in 273 before Christ. Decline set in following the demise of the Roman Empire. So savage raids by the Saracen and the periodic outbreaks of malaria forced the population to abandon the city altogether. So today, Paestum offers visitors an absolutely vivid glimpse on the grandeur and sophistication of the area's past life. And the Greek temples at Paestum are some of the best preserved in the whole world. So it's absolutely worth a visit. We now leave the region and move to the Basilicata and the beautiful town of Castelmezzano, which is perched again the backdrop of the Dolomiti Lucane. So obviously we're not in the Dolomites that we seen last week. These are called the Dolomiti Lucane, which are the mountains that you can see in the area. This stunning Italy hidden gem is well worth the detour from the main road that cuts through Basilicata. And it comes paired with another beauty on the opposite mountain, which is called Pietra Pertosa. So the bravest visitors can travel between the 2 towns on the so-called Flight of the Angel, which is a high-speed zip wire that connects these 2 off-the-beaten-path Italian towns together, which is something that I haven't seen anywhere else. While the town itself is fascinating, especially when viewed from a distance to admire its unique location, as you can see from this photo, the surrounding area are also beautiful because they are full with hikes, forests, and national parks. Well, undoubtedly the most popular destination in Basilicata is the town of Matera. And I absolutely love this photo. I mean, Matera has become more well-known in recent years thanks to being awarded Capital of Culture in 2019. This fascinating spot, which is one of the longest inhabited human settlements in the world, is an absolute must visit. The caves that make the famous sassi, which is literally rocks, are incredible to explore. These natural caves attracted the first inhabitants since the Paleolithic era. So we're talking, I mean, long time ago. More elaborated structure were then built atop of them. And today, looking across the gorge to Matera's Sassi, it seems you've been transported back to the ancient Holy Land. All Matera is split into 2 sections, the Sasso Barisano and the Sasso Caveoso, which are separated by a ridge upon which sits Matera's gracious Duomo, which you can see in the back. The Sassi, many little more than 1-room caves, once contained such appalling poverty and unthinkable living condition. I mean, malaria was rife and families lived alongside their animal within the caves as recently as 1950s. And in fact, exposed and brought out of obscurity by the memories of the Carlo Levi, which is an Italian writer, the government passed a law forcing all residents into the modern buildings, which today forms the so-called New Matera. Today, it is a place to stroll in the sun, marvel at the architecture, fall in love and gain a sense of all that is wonderful about southern Italy in general. So basically, Matera moved from its position as the shame of Italy to being European city of culture. And the caves are now sought after boutique accommodation. Matera has been popular with Italian tourism for the last decade, but this ancient city remains relatively unknown to foreign visitors. And when wandering the streets, I mean, the language that you hear is Italian, but I'm pretty sure that it won't last like this for much longer. So, I mean, it's absolutely something then tourists have to go and visit now, where it's still authentic and it's still not overcrowded. There is another town in Basilicata that is absolutely worth a visit, and it's Maratea. The town is home to one of several Christ the Redeemer statues around the world. Maratea's Cristo Redentore, so Christ the Redeemer in Italian, is actually the 5th largest Christ statue in the world. He stands 21 meters tall and has a arm span of 19 meters. But unlike Rio de Janeiro, Christ has his back to the Mediterranean, and instead he watches over the village to protect him. And I mean, with the statue of Christ looking down at the town, it's no surprise that this picturesque town is packed with churches. You can enjoy the marina, dining on the waterfront, or take a short stroll inland to enjoy the town itself. Before you can dip into the limestone caves to escape the summer sun. Matera is also known as the Pearl of the Tyrrhenian, and is located just a few hours south of the very popular Amalfi Coast. But Maratea isn't frequented mostly because of fewer transportation linked to reach it. So I mean, you need a car, you need someone to drive you there, or you need to drive there yourself. Otherwise, it's quite difficult to reach. And this is probably just one of the only reason why Matera, which has a beautiful beach that you can't see now here from this photo, is not as overcrowded as the Amalfi Coast, because it's not that far away. And then the last stop for today is Tropea in the Calabria region. I mean, Calabria, much like Puglia on the other side, is a region of azure waters, sandy beaches, great value for money, and off the beaten path Italian experience. While popular with Europeans and Italians, Americans have yet to discover the Calabria region and its beautiful coast and picturesque villages. Deep in Calabria, the tour of Italy's boot, Tropea doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves. I mean, the town is perched above the Tyrrhenian Sea on what is called the Coast of the Goats. And it's stunningly beautiful with fantastic beaches, a charming historical center, and restaurants serving fresh seafood, obviously. Tropea is kind of mythical, and in fact there is one legend that says that it was founded by Hercules, who is honored in the name of the main piazza, which is called Piazza Ercole. This beach town does get crowded in July and August, mostly with Italians and some European tourists. But if you go there in May, June, September, and October, you can absolutely enjoy plenty of space and wonderful weather. Tropea's 2.5 miles of pristine white beaches are amongst the cleanest and best in Italy. You have dramatic rock formation, cliffs, coves, and grottos which dot the coastline, holding ground against the sparkling turquoise Caribbean-like water. Tropea has both private and public beaches. You can rent canoes, you can rent paddle boats, or rubber dinghies. There is also a diving center which is open year-round and offers snorkeling and scuba diving. One of the most impressive features of Tropea is the Santa Dislo Church, which is the one that you can see on the left, which is perched on a large rock overlooking the beach. Well, you probably won't expect to find a blues festival in the heart of southern Italy, but actually, thanks to a group of impassioned young Calabrians, the Tropea Blue Festival has been a reality in Tropea since 2005, when it started as Streets of Blues. So every September, the Tropea Blues Festival features several international acts who perform in various scenic locations throughout the town. Originally, it was just 3 nights. Now is 6 full days of music and fun. There's concert and cultural events and a beautiful jump session. But it's now time for me. I mean, there was a, oh, sorry. Come on, okay. I think that was a great journey through Italy, hidden gem. But now, how do you reach many of these towns that, as we have seen, are sometimes very, very difficult to reach? And that's the reason why I'm going to introduce you to Matteo Batacchi, which will talk to you about the different type of transfer services that we offer throughout Italy with our very own fleet of Mercedes vehicles. So Matteo, is up to you.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. The level of my voice is okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I want to start my speech by introducing myself and assuring all of you that our private drivers speak English better than I, okay? So please, after this small confession, I want to say good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking part in our web activities. It's important for us that you know our standard of work, the attention and the passion that we put into all our proposals for your clients. My name is Matteo, and I am here to introduce you to our transfer company, which we take care of all the transfers of your customers during their stay in Italy. Our company has over 70 owned vehicles distributed in the cities of Milan, Venice, Florence, and Rome, so 4 of the main important cities in Italy. In all that the other areas of the Italian territory where we are not directly present, with our vehicles, we have set up a network of selected top-level private drivers who have our same attention for details, because the quality for us is very, very important. So our standards are very high, and we use only new Mercedes vehicles. Our fleet includes E-Class for a couple of people, V-Class like this for 7 people, for example, until 7 people, Vito Mercedes for 8 people, and Sprinter Mercedes that we don't have now, sorry, in the pictures, but is the bigger one for 8 women, because generally they have a lot of luggage. And we have also the top sedan, the S-Class. So in all these cities, we have all these kind of vehicles. So I'm sure that all your needs are okay with these vehicles. It's very important for us, especially in this period, in this moment, to guarantee a very high level of safety for our guests, starting with the quality of the air. We have therefore introduced sanification protocols which provide for a deep cleaning of the vehicle at the end of each day of service, and the use of modern air sanitizing appliances inside the vehicle. This is because they can destroy viruses, molds, and bacteria, and also they eliminate odors and make the air healthier. So it's better even if when the COVID-19 will be only remember, okay? But our job is not only limited to making transfers from stations or airports. The quality of our drivers is, I think, is our strong point. All the drivers who will take care of your customers during their activities speak excellent English and very often a second language, as for example Spanish or French or Deutsch or German, sorry, or Arabian. So in some Italian regions, such as Tuscany, where wine-related activities and excursions are frequent, all drivers receive annual training about wine and its history. So this is, I think it's very important because during an excursion, the driver will introduce the excursion, the activities that the people are doing, telling them many things, many anecdotes or curiosities related to the testings that they are doing. So this is very nice. Our staff will be at your disposal in case the clients wish to visit the city where they are located, and they want to have a private driver who knows very well the area. As you can see in these pictures, we can offer this kind of services. So if you are just in Florence, for example, but you need help to visit the city, for example, in 2 hours, 3 hours, this is a nice opportunity. A private driver that's a pick up at your hotel, drive with you everywhere in the city, telling you the history of the city, making as a driver is not a guide, okay? It's a driving guide service. So he knows many curiosities, many small stories of many monuments. So it's a nice way to visit the city. And especially in the summer when the climate is very hot, move by a private car is better than walk, even if, for example, Florence in this case is a very small city. Private excursions, as I told you before, are for sure one of the most loved activities by our customers. And this thanks to the competence and keenness of our drivers. In fact, they are able to make each excursion special, I think. Their knowledge of the territory, and in these aspects we work a lot during the low season, where they can follow the most experts of them. So their knowledge of the territory, of the most exclusive places, and the availability towards the customers is particularly appreciated. Well, Chiara, I think that that's enough about our fleet and our service. Will be a pleasure to move your customers everywhere in Italy with our drivers and our fleet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matteo. Not sure if there's any question for Matteo, so if you want to type them in the chat, and then we can ask him later. Michael was asking if the vehicles and transfer can be booked independently, which, I mean, if I understand correct, what you want to know is that if you can just book a transfer service for your clients without having to book any hotel or any other things. And if that was your question was, yes, absolutely. I mean, you can book just a transfer if that's what you need. I mean, we can provide also only that service too.
Yes.
So, Matteo, I'll just mute you again. Okay, so, I mean, over the past weeks, some of you have emailed me asking more information about the type of products and services that we offer. So I thought to take this opportunity to just give you a brief explanation of what we can do for you. So Sense by Stars is a DMC which specializes in all things Italy. We offer an extensive range of hand-picked, tried and tested suppliers, including hotels, mainly 4 and 5 stars, but we have a little bit of everything, villas, apartments, guided tours, excursions of any kind, shared tours, which are mainly in small groups. So, I mean, there's something for everyone. We have wine tasting, food tasting, hiking, biking excursion, basically all of the activities that I've talked through during these webinars, we can organize them. Our team have many years of experience in the industry. I mean, personally, I have over 15 years actually now of experience in the travel industry, and we all know Italy inside out. We work closely with all of our travel agents around the world to provide any type of assistance. Just from, I mean, if it is just helping you in selecting the best accommodation, suggesting an entire itinerary, just booking one service or booking an entire itinerary from the accommodation to the transfer to the excursion to the local transportation, if it's trains or a yacht. So there's nothing that we cannot provide here. So basically, all those itinerary that I share with you over the past weeks, all of those kind of things we can put together. Sorry, I'm just looking, Michael's. Yes, we do sometimes participate in BIT or TTG. I'm not sure what our trade fair participation will look like in 2020, since we are all on standby. And Elaine, do many of the hidden gems location offer for? Well, some of those, yes, definitely. The biggest one, like, I mean, Parma, Mantua, Alba, they do all offer 4- and 5-star hotels, while the smallest towns are probably perfect for a day trip. We do, well, there is a selection of villas, mainly villas, only a few apartments on our website, Suzanne, but we then have plenty of them off the book. Just because, I mean, sometimes working with private villa owners is not exactly the same as working with hotels. And since our booking platform, which is actually my next slide. Oh, bye, Janet. See you next time. So our booking platform that can be accessed through with your own login and password is where you can find an extensive selection of our products. But there are many more that we can offer you, mainly in terms of villas and apartments, but also, I mean, transfer services and services in general. We have so many things that we cannot put everything on the platform. So, you know, sometimes you just, if there is something that you can find, just send us an email and we will put it together for you. You can use the platform to get a quick quote at any time. I mean, for example, if you have a request which is at the time of the day where with the time difference will be night here, then you can just log in and easily find your prices. You can book directly to the platform, with many products having live availability, which is something that doesn't happen often with villas, for example, and that's one of the reasons why we don't have that many on the website. But I mean, if you prefer to just send us an email, and we can do a quote via email, so whatever you prefer. In terms of pricing, I'll reply to you, Elaine. Basically, what we do is that we offer our prices in euros, and you can choose to have them net or gross. So you can have them net of your commission, and just consider that the prices on the platform range from 10 to 15, 16% commission, depending obviously on the type of product. Or you can also have your clients paying us gross, and then we will obviously send you back the commission. And in this case, let's say that you put together a quote that has a 12% commission overall, and you want to put it up to 15, you just need to tell us the amount that you want to charge your client. We're gonna change that on the platform so that then your clients can pay with their credit card, and we will provide you with a payment link. So, you know, it's secure. They are gonna add their own credit card details. We don't want to have the responsibility. I mean, we don't want to use their credit card details, and they can pay the gross price, and then obviously we will pay you the commission. There is no fee to use the booking platform. It's absolutely free. So, I mean, I hope this gives you an overview of what we do. If any of you would like to have their login set up, just let me know. But I want to end up today with something that I really treasure. So, I mean, the travel industry, our industry, has been deeply affected by the current situation. So I think that we should all work together to make sure that we can go back to where it was in the shortest time possible. And I've spoken with many of you in the past weeks, and I know that mainly those that have small independent business are struggling and are worried that they may have to give up their beloved jobs and find something else. And obviously, we're really sorry to hear this, and we would love to do something to help you. So, I mean, just as an example, if you do have that one client that you know have a hobby or a passion, why not put together an itinerary for them that you can send them just to be proactive, just to anticipate what they may want to do in the future when is safe to go back and travel. I mean, this is something that we would be absolutely happy to help you with. And if you can think of anything else that we could do to help, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I mean, really, we are here to help you. We are all in the same industry. And I mean, I can't stress you enough, just get in touch. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today again. It was a winding journey through Italy's hidden gem, but I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And now for a bit of news. So with Italy finally reopening next week, and with our experiential webinars going on for the next 4 weeks, we are putting these destination webinars on a hold just for a little while, but we will resume them in July, probably with a different schedule. We still have to finalize that. So I'll send you more details about that in the weeks to come. But in the meantime, I'm here if you need any help, or I mean, if you have any suggestions or any requests about these webinars and how you would like them to continue. So the next appointment for everyone is next June 3rd at 5:30 p.m. So the time is different, with the experiential webinar that will explore the sense of smell. And you will learn all about making your own perfume. As usual, here you have all of our contact details, the Facebook group, my email. So please don't hesitate to get in touch, even if it is just for a friendly chat. And have a wonderful time, everyone. And see you soon. Bye.